Hello everyone and very welcome to my YouTube channel Liba's English Corner. In our today's video, we are going to discuss another chapter of New Oxford Modern English Book 8 Edition 3. And the name of the chapter is The Adventure of the Dying Detective. First of all, we will discuss the content which we are going to discuss in this video. So after knowing the content, it will be very easy for you to see that what are the things which we are going to discuss in this video. First thing which we are going to discuss are the characters. How many characters are there and what roles they are playing in this fiction will be discussed. After the characters, we are going to discuss another important thing which is the introduction of the author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote this short fiction. After that, we are going to discuss words to know which are given in this chapter and as well as other difficult words which are found in this chapter. And then we are going to do line by line detailed explanation. I will try my level best to explain each and every line to you in easy and simpler English. After the line by line explanation, we are going to discuss the summary as well. After the explanation, I will tell you the summary that what is the overall crux of this chapter. And then we will solve all exercises from A to Z in this video. So let's start with our today's video. This is the content and let's move on. Our first thing which we are going to discuss is the introduction of the author. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, 1859 to 1930, was a British writer and a physician. He was most noted for creating fictional detective Sherlock Holmes and writing stories about him, which are generally considered milestone in the field of crime fiction. He was a prolific writer whose other works include fantasy and science fiction stories, plays, romances, poetry, non-fiction and historical novels are very famous as well. So today we are going to discuss one of his most famous work of fictional detective Sherlock Holmes. Without wasting any time, let's move toward our next part of the video, which are the characters. How many characters are there in this fiction and what role they are playing? Let's discuss them first. So there are not too many names which will be difficult for you to memorize. There are only few names which you can remember as well. Number 1, Sherlock Holmes, the main character of the story and the detective. Number 2, Dr. Watson, the close friend of Sherlock Holmes and a doctor as well. Number 3 is Culverton Smith, the criminal of the story. Number 4, the Inspector Morton, the police officer. Next is Victor, the murder victim. He is not mentioned alive in the story, but the criminal is connected to it. And the last one is Miss Hudson, the landlady, because Sherlock Holmes was living on the house of rent. So these are the few names of the characters which are mentioned in this fiction. Now we will start with the chapter line by line explanation and we will understand them. The Adventure of the Dying Detective. First of all, we will discuss words to know. First word is Black Formosa corruption. Black Formosa corruption basically mean a fictional disease invented by Conan Doyle. Now fiction basically mean imaginative, so it was an imaginative disease which was invented by the writer Conan Doyle. Number 2 is cab, a horse-drawn carriage for hire. Number 3, contagious. Contagious basically mean spread by one person to another by direct contact, for example, coronavirus. So, it was also spread by direct contact. Next is gaunt. Gaunt basically mean lean and looking unwell due to age, suffering or hunger. Or you can say very thin. Next word is grudge. Grudge basically mean a persistent bad feeling towards someone which was caused by some past injury or insult. When you feel bad towards someone or when you feel angry towards someone because of any past insult or something. So this is grudge. Next is incessantly. Incessantly basically mean constantly without stopping. Next word is infallibly, which is incapable of falling, or you can say not making mistake. Next word, listlessly, which basically mean lack enthusiasm and energy. Next word is malicious. which means with intended harm. When you intendedly or when you say you consciously harm someone, this is malicious. Next is murmurings. Murmuring basically mean low or indistinct sound. When someone is talking in low voice, you can say murmuring. Next is place of concealment, which is hiding place, or you can say place to hide. Next word is resolutely, which means with determination, when you are determined to do something. Next word is spasmodic. Spasmodic basically mean occurring in brief, irregular bursts, or you can say happening suddenly for the short period of time. So when a thing happens suddenly for a short period of time, you can say spasmodic. Then we have Tapanuli fever, which is another frictional disease invented by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in this fiction. And the last word is with your leave, you can say with your permission. So these are some difficult words which are mentioned in words to know of this chapter, but don't worry, there are many other difficult words which are in this chapter, but I will explain them clearly when I will read them. So now let's start with our chapter detailed explanation. Sherlock Holmes, landlady, came to my house. She looked worried and explained, Holmes is dying, Dr. Watson. This morning I could stand no more of it. I said, with your leave or without it, Mr. Holmes, I am going for a doctor this very hour. He replied, let it be Watson then. Hurry, sir, or you may not see him alive. So, Sherlock Holmes, landlady, Miss Hudson, came to my house. She went to house of Holmes and where she found that Holmes is dying. Holmes' condition was weird, so she said to Holmes that with your leave, it means that with your permission or not, I am going to call a doctor for you because your condition is not good. And Sherlock Holmes replied that if you want to call a doctor, then please call Watson. She went to the house of Dr. Watson and Miss Hudson said there, the doctor, please hurry up because Sherlock Holmes is not feeling well. If you will be late, you would not be able to see him. So, here the story starts with Sherlock Holmes' bad condition. When landlady Miss Hudson went to his house, she saw there that he was lying on the bed with a poor condition. I will explain that what condition he was having in the next lines. And then she immediately went to the doctor and called Dr. Watson for an immediate checkup of Sherlock Holmes. I was horrified, for I had heard nothing of his illness. As we drove back, I asked for the details. He has been working at a case in an alley near the river, and he says he caught this illness from the dock workers. Now, these lines are said by Dr. Watson. I was horrified, I was shocked because he had heard nothing about illness of Sherlock Holmes. He was his best friend. Then he immediately drove to his house and he asked for the details. Sherlock Holmes was basically working at a case in an alley, basically a narrow road or path between buildings near the river, and he says that he caught this illness from the dock workers. Now, who are the dock workers? This is the main question. Now, dock worker is a person whose main job is taking and putting off goods on the ship in a port. So, these persons are working in the ship on the port. So, next lines are, he did indeed look terrible, his gaunt, wasted face staring at me from the bed sent a chill to my heart. The thin hands twitched incessantly, his voice was croaking and spasmodic. There was a hectic flush upon either cheek, and dark crust clung to his lips. He lay listlessly as I entered the room. but the sight of me brought a gleam of recognition to his eyes. He did indeed look terrible. It means that he was looking very unpleasant, his gaunt, wasted face staring at me, that he was very, very thin. The thin hands twitched incessantly. Basically, word twitched mean to make a sudden small movement, usually without intention. So, the thin hands twitched incessantly, that his thin hands were moving without stop, they were moving constantly. His voice was croaking and spasmodic. Croaking basically mean when you speak with rough voice because you have a dry throat, and spasmodic basically mean happening suddenly for a short period of time. So in short, you can say that his voice was very dry because he was not feeling well, and there was a hectic flush upon either cheek, that his both cheeks were unnaturally too much red, and dark crust clung to his lips, that there was a dark crust mean a dried blood or something which was near his lips. He lay listlessly as I entered the room, but a sight of me brought a gleam of recognition to his eyes. That he was lying listlessly, it means that he was having no interest in anything. So, but there was a gleam of recognition, but there was a hope of something, or he recognized me when I entered the room. "My dear fellow," I cried, approaching him. "Stand back, stand right back," said he. "I know what is the matter with me. It is a disease from Sumarta. One thing only is certain, it is infallibly deadly, and it is horribly contagious." Basically, when Mr. Watson, Dr. Watson, entered the room, he cried, "My dear fellow," when he saw his condition. But Sherlock Holmes said, "Stand back, stand away, stand right back there, don't come towards me because my disease is very dangerous. Only thing is certain, only thing which is having no doubt, that it is infallibly deadly." Infallibly basically mean that it is very, very deadly, and it is contagious as well, that it passed from one person to another, so don't dare to come closer to me. "Holmes," said I, "you are not yourself. A sick man is but a child, and so I will examine your symptoms and treat you for them." So Dr. Watson said that, "Holmes, you are not yourself a man, but now you are a child, because a sick man need a lot of care. So I will examine your symptoms, I will look after you, I will see that what are the symptoms, and I will treat you according to it because I am a doctor." So this is the conversation in the first 2 3 paragraphs, in which Dr. Watson arrived in the house of Holmes and he saw his poor condition over there, and now he want to treat him, but Holmes is not allowing him to come near to him, and he want him to stay back. He motioned me away. "Keep your distance. What do you know of Tapanuli fever? What do you know of the Black Formosa corruption?" He motioned me away basically mean he used his hand or gesture to tell me to stay away. "Keep your distance. Stay away from me. What do you know of Tapanuli fever, or what do you know of the Black Formosa corruption?" I already told you that Tapanuli fever and Black Formosa corruption, these both are the fictional diseases which are created by Conan Doyle, the writer of the story, to create a fun and to create a mystery in the story. I have never heard of either, but I happen to know Dr. Ainstree, the greatest living authority upon tropical disease. I am going this instant to fetch him. I turned resolutely to the door. Basically, these lines mean that Dr. Watson is saying that I don't know both of them. I don't know what is Tapanuli fever, or I don't know what is Black Formosa corruption. But he says that I know a person called Dr. Anstree, who is the greatest living authority, mean he is having a lot of command on the tropical diseases. So I'm going this instant. He means that I'm going right away to fetch him. And I turned resolutely to the door. Resolutely basically mean with determination, that I turned with a lot of determination to the door, that I'm going to call him. Next lines are, "Never have I had such a shock in an instant with a tiger spring. The dying man had locked the door. The next moment he had staggered back to his bed. That he was having a lot of shock when he saw that the dying man, he was he stood up from the bed, and with a tiger jump he immediately locked the door, and he was shocked that in the previous moment he was dying and now he have a tiger sprung. He had locked the door. The next moment he had staggered. Now he is back in his bed with again bad condition. You won't take the key from me by force, Watson. I have got you, my friend. It's 4 o'clock, and at 6 we will resume our conversation. Basically, Holmes is now saying to Dr. Watson that I have got you, my friend. Stay here. It's 4 o'clock, and at 6 p.m. we will resume our conversation. Now, Dr. Watson lines, I had stood up for some minutes looking at the silent figure in the bed. He appeared to be asleep, unable to settle down. I had walked slowly to the mantelpiece. Now, Dr. Watson stood up for some minutes looking at the silent figure, mean the man who was ill. He was looking at him. He was appeared to be asleep, but he was unable to sleep. So basically, he started walking in the room, and he had slowly walked to the mantelpiece. Now, mantelpiece is basically a shelf above the fireplace. Next lines are, on it was a small black and white ivory box with a sliding lid. I had stretched out my hand to examine it more closely when, put it down, Watson, this instant, I say. His head sank back upon the pillow, and he gave me a deep sigh of relief as I placed the box upon the mantelpiece. Sit down, man, and let me have my rest. Now, when he walked toward the shelf above the fireplace, he saw a black and white box, ivory box, which is basically made of tusk of elephant and with a sliding lid, means sliding top. I had stretched my hand to pick it up and to examine when the man says, the Mr. Holmes says, put it down, Watson, this instant. That immediately put it down from where you had picked it up, and his head sank back on the pillow, and with a sigh of relief that thank God that he left it, and he says that sit down and have some rest and let me have some rest as well. At 6, he shuddered and again made a sound between cough and a sob. That at 6 p.m. he shuddered, mean he shake with fear, and again he made a sound which is between a cough and between a sob, mean when a person is crying with noise. So there was a sound between cough and a sob. Then he began to talk with the same feverish animation as before. Then again, he talked with the same condition, like he is very ill or something. So again, he is talking with same feverish animation as before. You will now light the gas, Watson, but you will be very careful that not for one instant shall it be more than half on. Now he is basically talking with Watson that you have to turn it on, but remember that turn it half on, not full. Now please place some letters and papers upon this table within my reach. Now he is basically requesting Watson to put some papers and to put some letters upon this table within my reach, within his reach, because he was ill so he cannot move from the bed. Thank you. Now kindly use those sugar tongs to move that small ivory box to this table. Place it here among the papers. Good. You can now go and fetch Mr. Culverton Smith of 13 Lower Burke Street. Now, basically, he is requesting Mr. Watson to place the letters and papers near within his reach on the table, and then he says thank you, and then he requests him to use those sugar tongs, mean a small tool to pick sugar cubes. That use those tongs and move that small ivory box to this table and place it here among the papers. Now go and fetch Mr. Culverton Smith, and he told the address of Culverton Smith to Watson. Now, Watson lines are, I have never heard the name, said I. Basically, Watson was shocked after hearing the name that who is Mr. Culverton Smith. I had never heard of him before. The man is very much ill, so he needs some good doctor like Anstey, but he was saying that he needs someone named as Mr. Culverton Smith. It may surprise you to know that the man upon earth who knows most about this disease is not a medical man but a planter. Mr. Culverton Smith is a well known resident of Somarta, now visiting London. Now, basically, Holmes' lines are that it may surprise you, Watson, that it may give you a shock that the man who knew about this disease is not any doctor but a planter named as Mr. Culverton Smith, who was a well known resident of Somarta but now he is visiting London. If you could persuade him to come here and give us the benefit of his unique experience of this disease, the investigation of which has been his dearest hobby. Now, Holmes is requesting Watson that please persuade him, please convince him to come along with you because I want his unique experience to please bring him here. He can cure this disease. Now, Mr. Watson is very much shocked that how a planter can cure this disease known as Tapanuli fever or Black Formosa corruption. I cannot doubt that he could help me. There is no good feeling between us. His nephew, Watson, died horribly. He has a grudge against me. You will soften him, Watson. Beg him. Get him here by any means. He can save me. Only he. Now, basically, Holmes is requesting Watson that he is having a grudge against me because of his nephew who died horribly, but only he can save me. You have to request him, you have to beg him, but you have to take him here because he can only save my life, Watson. Now, Watson says, I will bring him in a cab if I have to carry him down to it. Watson says that I will bring him in a cab, but if I have to carry him, I will also do because of you. Then Holmes says, you will do nothing of the sort. You will persuade him to come, and then you will return in front of him, make any excuse so as not to come with him. Don't forget, Watson, you won't fail me. You never did fail me. So now he is requesting Watson that you have to do nothing of this sort. You don't need to carry him. You just need to persuade him. You will convince him and then he will come along with you. But remember one thing, you don't have to come along with him. You have to come first. Make any excuse and don't come with him. Come before him. And at the end, he says, Watson, you never disappoint me. You never did fail me. And I hope that you will bring him along with you. I left him babbling like a foolish child. Below, as I stood whistling for a cab, a man came on me through the fog. How is Mr. Holmes, sir? He asked. It was an old acquaintance, Inspector Morton of Scotland Yard, in his official clothes. He is very ill, I answered. He looked at me in a with strange expression that seemed almost like a smile. The cab had arrived, and so I thought no more of it, and I left him. Now, the meaning, I left him babbling like a foolish child. It means that I am basically talking rapidly to my own self, and I then go down and I was whistling for a cab. Then a man came here who was Mr. Inspector Morton, the police officer, and basically he was saying that how was Mr. Holmes, and I was shocked at how he know him. So he says that he was an old acquaintance. Acquaintance basically mean a person one knows slightly but not a close friend. Now he was shocked that why the police officer was looking at me with a strange expression which was looking more than a smile, but he ignored because my cab was there. So Lord Burke Street proved to be a line of fine houses. The particular one at which my cabman pulled up had old-fashioned iron railings, a massive folding door, and a shining brasswork. All was in keeping with a solemn butler with who went to tell his master of my arrival, that the location which I was ascended was a place which was having fine houses. It means that the people who were living there was very much rich because the houses were so beautiful and good. The particular one in which in front of it the cab was stopped was a house with old fashioned iron railings, with a massive folding door, and with a shining brass work. So where he stopped there and he went in there. So there was a solemn butler who went to tell his master of his arrival. Basically, solemn butler is basically a very serious or formal, you can say, servant with a high rank, who have to manage all the chores of the houses. So he went to his master, Mr. Cleverton Smith, and he was telling him about his arrival. I heard murmuring, "He can come in the morning or he can stay away. My work must not be hindered." So he was talking with his master, and he was basically saying, Mr. Cleverton replied that I don't have any time to meet someone now. That if you want to meet me, you can come in the morning. I cannot stop my work now. I thought of Holmes tossing upon his bed of sickness and counting the minutes, perhaps until I could bring help to him. His life depended upon my promptness. So basically, Watson was thinking that if I came in the morning, maybe Mr. Holmes would not be anymore, because his life is dependent upon me, depending upon my promptness. Basically, promptness means the quality of doing something without delay, and his life is depending upon me. So I don't have to make any excuses. I just have to take Mr. Cleverton Smith with me right now. Before the apologetic butler had delivered this message, I had pushed past him and was in the room. That before the solemn butler was delivering his message to me that sorry, you can meet him tomorrow, I pushed him right away and entered the room. "What's this?" Cleverton Smith cried in a high, screaming voice. "What is the meaning of this intrusion? Didn't I send you word that I would see you in the morning tomorrow?" So now Mr. Cleverton Smith is angry on Dr. Watson in a screaming voice. He says that what is the meaning of this intrusion, that why you are interrupting me? I already told you that I will meet you in the morning. "I am sorry," said I, "but the matter cannot be delayed, Mr. Sherlock Holmes." "I am sorry," Mr. Watson says, "but the matter is very much serious, Mr. Sherlock Holmes." The mention of my friend's name had an extraordinary effect upon the little man. The look of anger passed in an instant from his face. His features became tense and alert. Now, when Dr. Watson mentioned the name of Sherlock Holmes, the immediate expression changed of Cleverton Smith. "Have you come from Holmes?" he asked. He asked that, "Are you coming from Mr. Holmes' house or from Mr. Holmes?" he asked. "He is desperately ill. That is why I have come." So Dr. Watson says that he is very ill, so that's why I am here with you. The man motioned me to a chair and turned to resume his own. The man gave me a gesture to sit on the chair and to turn his resume that he want to talk upon this topic. As he did so, I caught a glimpse of his face in the mirror over the mantelpiece. I could have sworn that it was set in a malicious smile, yet I must have been mistaken, for he turned to me an instant later with genuine concern upon his features. When I was sitting there, he was turning his face toward the mantelpiece. I already told you that mantelpiece is a place, a shelf above the fireplace. There was a mirror over there, and I saw that there was a shadow of a malicious smile, that he was basically smiling on his illness, on his poor condition right now. So he thought that I must be mistaken. It is basically my own assumption, something like that. And when he looked toward me, he was having some genuine concern. "I only know Mr. Holmes through some business dealings which we had, but I have every respect for him." Then Cleverton Smith that I only know Holmes because we were having some business dealings, but I always respect him. It was on account of your special knowledge that Mr. Holmes desired to see you. He thought that you were the one man in London who would help him because of your knowledge of the Eastern diseases. Now, Watson told Mr. Cleverton Smith that Mr. Holmes desired to see you because Mr. Holmes believed that you are only man who know the diseases of Eastern diseases. Mr. Cleverton Smith smiled pleasantly and picked up his cap. "I will come with you at once," he said. Now, Mr. Cleverton Smith agreed immediately, and he took his cap and he says that I will come with you and will see Holmes. I remembered Holmes' command, I have another appointment, said I. Immediately, Mr. Watson thought of Mr. Holmes' command that you don't have to come with him, you have to come before him. So he immediately says that, yes, but I have another appointment. You can go by yourself to his house. Very good. I will go alone. You can rely upon being there within half an hour at most. So he says, very good, that I will come by my own self. You don't need to come with me. So here, Watson is following the commands of Holmes that he is coming before Cleverton Smith, and Cleverton Smith is basically happy because his face features was showing that he was not sad after listening the news of his friend. So now the climax will come when the Cleverton Smith will arrive in the house of Holmes. It was with a great sinking heart that I re entered Holmes' bedroom. To my enormous relief, although his appearance was as ghastly as ever, he seemed greatly improved. Now, when I mean the Watson, when he entered the room, he sees that Mr. Holmes was feeling a little better. He is coming, I told him. I told Holmes that Cleverton Smith is coming. Now, Holmes replied, Admirable Watson, you cannot disappear from the scene. There is just room behind the head of my bed, Watson. My dear Holmes, I protested. I fear there is no alternative, Watson. The room doesn't have any other place of concealment. Now, Mr. Holmes is basically giving command to Watson that you have to hide behind the bed. There is a door. You have to hide over there. Watson, quick, man, and don't budge. Whatever happens, just listen with all your ears. Then, in an instant, his sudden excess of strength departed, and he drifted into the low, vague murmurings of semi-delirious man. Now what happened? He went into the room. He Watson locked himself, and Holmes gave him the command that you don't have to come outside. You don't have to make any slightest movement. You just have to listen what is happening out there. From the hiding place, I heard the opening and closing of the bedroom. I could imagine that our visitor was standing by the bedside and looking down at the sufferer. At last, that strange hush was broken. Holmes, he cried. Can't you hear me, Holmes? There was a rustling, and if he had shaken the sick man roughly by the shoulder. Is that you, Mr. Smith? Holmes whispered. It is very good of you to come. Very noble of you. Help me. I am very sick. Now, Mr. Cleverton Smith arrived over there and he cried, Holmes, can't you hear me, Holmes? But there was something strange in his voice. Is that you, Smith? Holmes whispered, and basically, Holmes is saying that it is very good of you to come. It is very noble of you. Now, please help me. I am very sick. Our visitor sniggered. Don't you know what is the matter with you? Now, Mr. Smith was basically laughing in a silly way on the illness of Mr. Holmes. The same, said Holmes. Well, I should not be surprised, Holmes. Poor Victor was a dead man on the fourth day. It was certainly, as you said, very surprising that he could have contracted an Asiatic disease in the heart of London, a disease too of which I had made a very special study. Very smart of you to notice that, but rather uncharitable to suggest that it was cause and effect. Now, basically, when Victor was ill, there is another person, Victor, poor Victor. So when Victor was ill, so Cleverton Smith had killed him before. So this is the climax. Now Holmes want to show everyone that Cleverton Smith was a murderer. I knew that you did it. So Holmes says that I knew that you did it because of your experiment he died. Oh, you did you? Well, you don't. Well, you couldn't prove it now. I heard the rasping. I heard the rasping mean I heard the harsh sound, labored breathing of the sick man. Give me the water, he gasped. Now he is requesting Cleverton Smith that please give me water. You are precious near your end, my friend, but I don't want you to go till I had a word with you. Now, Cleverton Smith is saying that I know that you are near to your death, but I don't want to uh, end this because I want to talk with you, and then you can die. That's why I give you water here. I would like you to know before you die. Listen now. Do you remember a box, an ivory box? It came on Wednesday by post. You open it. Do you remember? Now, basically, he is saying that on Wednesday, I have sent it you something. I have sent it you an ivory box. Didn't you open it? So now the ill man replied, Holmes replied, yes, yes, I opened it. There was a sharp spring inside it. Some joke. Now he says, yes, I opened your box there, and it was having a sharp spring inside it, but I don't understand that what's the meaning of that sharp string. It was no joke. I sent it. If you had left me alone, I would not have hurt you. So he is saying that Holmes was saying that what kind of joke was that? There was a sharp string over there. So now Cleverton Smith replied that it was not a joke. I had sent it you with all intentions. Holmes gasped. I remember this box on the table, the spring in it drew blood. Holmes basically says that I remember this box on the table, the spring in it drew blood. And it may as well leave the room in my pocket. There goes your last shred of evidence. You can die with the knowledge that I killed you. Holmes' voice had sunk to an almost inaudible whisper. What is that? Said Cleverton Smith. Turn up the gas. Anything else? Light a candle. Now, here, Cleverton Smith is going to kill Mr. Holmes. He is saying that you only knows that I am going to kill you. I nearly called out in my joy and excitement. Holmes was speaking in his natural voice. There was a long pause, and I felt that Cleverton Smith was standing in a silent amazement looking at my companion. What's the meaning of this? I heard Cleverton Smith say at last in dry, rasping tone. Now, when Holmes started talking in his natural voice, so Cleverton Smith was shocked that what is happening here? The best way of successful acting a part of it to be, said Holmes. I give you my word that for 3 days I have tasted neither food nor drink until you were good enough to pour me out the glass of water. Do I hear the step of a friend? The door opened, and Inspector Martin appeared. This is your man, said Holmes. Now, basically, Holmes says that it was the best part of my acting. I had uh, eat nothing for last 3 days because I wanted you to be arrested. You were the criminal, so you deserve jail. So the door opened and Inspector Martin appeared, and Holmes said, this is your man, sir. Inspector Martin says, I arrest you on the charge of the murder of one Victor Savage, said Inspector Martin. And you might add of this attempted murder of one Sherlock Holmes, remarked my friend with a chuckle. By the way, the prisoner has a small box in the right hand pocket of his coat with my play its part in a trial. I am very careful with the strange gifts that come by anonymous post. There was the click of closing handcuffs. A nice trap, cried the high, snarling voice. You can lie as you like, Holmes. My word is always as good as yours. Good heavens, cried Holmes. I had totally forgotten him. My dear Watson, I owe you 1,000 apologies. I need not to introduce you to Mr. Cloverton Smith, since I understand that you met somewhat earlier in the morning. But your appearance, Holmes, I ask, how did you do it? Now Watson is basically asking Holmes that how did you do it? How your condition was looking so poor? How did you manage to play such a good act? 3 days of absolute fast does not improve one beauty. Watson, a little water will fix you rest with Vaseline upon your forehead, rouge over the cheekbones, and crust of beeswax round one's lips. A very satisfying effect can be produced. He wiped his face. You won't have seen through it, and I allowed you to treat me when we have finished at the police station. I think that something nutritious at Simpson's would not be out of place. Now, when he asked this question, that how did you manage to act like this? So Holmes replied that I applied Vaseline upon my forehead, I applied rouge over the cheekbones, mean the red powder, and the crust of beeswax around my lips, and I fast for 3 days to do this act, to look weak, to look gaunt. So And then he says, then we will go to the police station, and after all the investigation, we will go to the restaurant named as Simpsons, and we will have some good food over there. So, this was the story in which now we will talk about the summary of this whole story. First of all, what happened? Landlady arrived at Holmes' house and she sees that he was in very poor condition. Then she immediately called Dr. Watson. When Dr. Watson was going to treat Holmes, and he says, "Stay away and call Mr. Cleverton Smith." When he went there, Cleverton Smith was smiling on the illness of his friend Holmes. He went there and he basically was going to kill Holmes, and he also agreed that he kill Vector Savage also. So then Inspector Martin entered and he arrested him on the case that he had killed Victor and he was going to kill another person named as Sherlock Holmes. And after this, Watson also came out and he appreciated Holmes for doing this beautiful act. So he says that how did you manage to do it? And then he mentions some things which he had applied on his body, and he says that he fasted for more than 3 days to perform this act and to put the criminal in jail. Now we will discuss exercises. First is answer the following question. We will do question answers first and then we will move on toward the next questions. Now it will be very much easy for you to answer the questions because you know the chapter. When you know the chapter, it is very easy to take the answers out. Question number 1 is, who told Dr. Watson that Holmes was ill? So simple is that the answer is in the first line of the chapter, Sherlock Holmes' landlady. You can also mention her name, Mrs. Hudson, but Sherlock Holmes' landlady is also enough. Second question is, explain how Holmes pretended to be ill. Holmes pretended to be ill by acting but also by fasting for 3 days and disgusting himself. He did that by putting Vaseline on his forehead, rouge on his cheeks, and crust of beeswax around his lips. So, as a whole, he fasted for 3 days. He applied different things on his face to pretend that he is very ill because he wants to arrest a criminal called Mr. Cleverton Smith. Now, there is two subparts of this question. We have to talk about his appearance first, and then we have to talk about his actions. His appearance. He looked terrible. His face was gaunt. There was a hectic flush on his cheeks. He had dark crust on his lips. So, this is all about his appearance, that how he was looking. He was looking terrible. Next, we have to talk about his actions, how he was acting at that time. He twitched his hand incessantly. His voice was croaking with spasmodic. He lay listlessly. So, his action happened when Watson arrived in his room. So, this was question number 2, discussed in almost 3 parts. Next is question number 3. Where does Cleverton Smith usually live? Now, where basically he lived? He was living in London now, but basically he was from Sumarta. He was living in Sumarta, but now he was visiting London, so it was a good time to arrest Cleverton Smith. Next question is, who had sent Holmes the ivory box and what was in it? Who sent in Holmes' ivory box? I have discussed already in this chapter in the last page. I told you that Cleverton Smith basically sent that ivory box. So the answer is, the box had come by anonymous post, but it was from Cleverton Smith. It had a spring inside it that was designed to draw blood and infect anyone who opened it. So when the box came on last Wednesday last week, so there was no name on it, but it was basically sent by Mr. Cleverton Smith, and in it there was a spring which can damage anyone who will open it. E part is, why did Mr. Cleverton Smith want to kill Holmes? Now, what was the reason? Why he want to kill Holmes if they were doing business dealings before that? Why? Why Mr. Smith was killing Holmes? Mr. Cleverton Smith wanted to kill Holmes because Holmes had guessed that Mr. Cleverton Smith had murdered his nephew Victor Savage. So, the only reason to kill Holmes was because he guessed that Mr. Cleverton Smith had murdered his own nephew, known as Vector Savage. He killed Vector Savage because of an experiment. So he want to kill Holmes now because he know the reality of Mr. Cleverton Smith, that he is a murderer. So this is the answer of question number 5. Next question is, who was waiting outside Holmes' house and what signal was he waiting for? Now, who was basically waiting outside Holmes' house? You can guess the answer. Inspector Morton was waiting outside Holmes' house. He was waiting for the lights to be turned on. So basically, Inspector Morton was waiting outside Holmes' house because he wanted to arrest the criminal right on the spot. Next question is, where did Watson hide? Now, who was Watson? Watson was a doctor and was a close friend of Holmes. So the question is, where did Watson hide and why did Holmes need him there? That where did he hide? Because he gave him an order to come before him, and why Holmes need him there? So this is the main question. So Watson hide behind the head of the bed. Holmes need him there so that he could witness Cleverton Smith confession. He want Watson over there because he want Watson to know about Cleverton Smith. So there is some mistake of spelling over there in this question. The spelling of word hide is Hide. So Watson hide behind the head of the bed, behind the ill man. So these are the questions which are discussed in the first part. Now these questions are more difficult. To discuss them first. Now we will discuss part number 8, which details, not including the revelation that he is a murderer, create impression that Cleverton Smith is an unpleasant person. Now we will answer this question. So the answer to the question is, he shows a gleam of recognition when Watson arrives. He leaps out of the bed to stop Watson from leaving to fetch Dr. Anstrey. He shouts to Watson to leave the box on the mantelpiece alone. Holmes, is very ill. He speaks in his normal voice as soon as he had some water and heard Mr. Cleverton Smith's confession. So when Mr. Cleverton Smith confessed that he was the murderer, so immediately the voice of Holmes was very much clear. He was not speaking in a dry throat anymore. Next question is, what clues are there in the story that Holmes was not really ill? The last 8 paragraph reveals about Holmes' pretensions of his illness to the reader. Now we know from the very start that he was not very ill because he was having a tiger spring to close the door. When Watson came over there, when Cleverton confesses, he immediately become very well. So this is basically that last 8 paragraph reveals that Holmes was basically not very ill. So sorry for some spelling mistakes. There is some spelling mistakes in the typing. So you can correct them because we have already know the chapter before. So it is not difficult for you to correct the spelling. So here illness spellings are not correct. Similarly, Holmes, Holmes. So you have to correct them as well. Last part is, how does Holmes make sure that Watson does not guess that he is pretending? By making him stand back and keeping the lights on. He need Watson to believe that he is very ill so that Watson can convince Mr. Cleverton Smith and bring him to Holmes anyway. So these are the questions, the first part in which we have discussed some question answers. I hope you are very clear with them because we have already explained the chapter in detail. Now we are moving toward the second question of the exercise, which is comment on the italicized words in the following sentences. Now what are the italicized words? The words which are little slanted in the line, which are little slanted, we have to comment on them only. So first is, I could stand no more of it. So here could stand no more of it are written in italicized words, so we have to comment on it. I could stand no more of it. It means to not be able to stand something means to be unable to tolerate something due to a strong dislike. The landlady hated to see Mr. Holmes suffering, so she immediately called a doctor. B part is, the sight of me brought a gleam of recognition to his eyes, So slanted words are sight of me brought a gleam of recognition. So this basically mean that when he saw his friend, so he immediately recognized him. So Watson interprets that this is as a sign that Holmes is still just friend. He looks at him with gleam often used to indicate an expression in his eyes that shows someone is amused or someone is happy to see him. So perhaps Holmes, who is known for such a behavior, is amused to see him. Third part is you are not yourself, a sick man is but a child. So here slanted words mean a sick man is but a child. To be yourself is to act naturally according on your does not fully know themselves. He says that Holmes is like a child because children do not character and instance, but Watson insists that Holmes' illness is making him act like someone anyways knows themselves well. So here these are the simple meanings of those italicized words. You can comment by yourself as well because you know the chapter. If you know, for example, D part is you will soften him, Watson. It basically means that you have to request him, you have to persuade him, that you have to come with me because Holmes is very ill. So this is the comment. You can do it by yourself. You don't just need to copy all the things from here in this video. You can comment by yourself that you will need to soften him, that it means that you have to request him that he have to come along with you here. And the next two parts are for you. It was with a sinking heart that I, and the last part, and don't budge whatever happens, Watson. These two are very easy. If you don't know, comment them below. I will answer immediately. So, question number 3 is answer the following question with a reference to the context. So, now you have to answer along with the reference to the context. So, these lines are taken from the story. First question is who is speaking to whom? So here, Mr. Cleverton Smith is talking to Sherlock Holmes. Number 2, who is being referred to and what happened to him? Mr. Cleverton Smith, nephew Victor Savage, he was murdered by Cleverton Smith. Number 3, where was this disease from? This disease is from Sumarta, Asia. Now, what you have to do in reference to the context, you have to read the lines carefully and then you have to recognize that who says these lines and where and what's happening in those lines. Because I have explained you each and everything in detail, so I don't need to explain it here now because things will be repeated again and again, so it will become very boring. So you have to answer yourself here. Be a part is the best way of successfully acting a part is it to be. Now the first question is who is speaking here? So basically these lines were said by Sherlock Holmes. Question number 2, what part has been acting? So Holmes did not eat or drink for 3 days and he put a lot of makeup on his face to look gaunt and weak. So this part has been played over here. Part number 3 is in what way was he being ill? So he has been acting the part of a very ill man who is close to death. Part number 4, what did the person want to do soon after this? He want to eat something nutritious at a place called Simpson's because he want to eat something good after 3 days, but he want to eat at some good restaurant known as Simpson's. So reference to context are very easy. If you know the lines well, you can answer them very well. Now we are moving toward the next part, the part number B of this chapter, which is working with the words. Now, I have explained each and every meaning before in this chapter. The meaning which I found a little difficult, I have explained each and everything before. I have explained words to know before. I have explained meaning of all the difficult words when I was explaining the chapter. So I don't need to explain exercise number 1 again because I have explained the meaning of hectic, nutritious, profusely, sniggered, intrusion, promptness, labors, snarling. So you have to go back, you have to watch the video again if you don't know the meaning of these words. I have explained each and everything. Next question is of the apostrophe. Now, what's the question? Do you remember reading about when to use the apostrophe? Now you have to use the apostrophe in the following sentences. I directly provide the answers because you know about the apostrophe that you have to put commas over there, something. Okay, so in some sentences we have to use apostrophe according to the situation, but in some questions we some sentences we don't have to put. For example, the first is We spoke to his father, who is in his 90s. So here there is no need of any apostrophe because no apostrophe will be applied over here. And the next is in the 40s, Pakistan gained independence. So here we will use apostrophe. So as a whole, apostrophe have three main uses. When we omit some letter or when we show some possession, we are using apostrophe over there. So part number 3 is learning about language. So in learning about language, first we are going to talk about the direct and indirect speech. So I will provide link in description of my other videos because this video is getting very much long, so I don't want to make it more longer. So for the direct and indirect speech, you can directly go and watch my video on the channel which is about direct and indirect speech. In very few minutes, I have explained you the very simple rules how to change a sentence from direct to indirect or from indirect to direct speech. Okay, so I will just provide you the answers, but if you want to learn them in detail, you have to go and watch that video because that video is of less than 10 minutes, I think, but it explains each and everything in detail that how to change a sentence from direct to indirect and indirect to direct speech. So first question over here is that change the following into reported speech. I hope you don't mind, she said. So change it. She hoped that he didn't mind. Next is where have you been? The man asked her. He asked her where she had been. Similarly, for the following questions, like I didn't find out whether they had seen the film, said Javed to his wife when they returned home. Answer is when they returned home, Javed told his wife that he had not found out whether they had seen the film. So these are the simple answers. We have to change the following into the reported speech. Reported speech is basically another name of indirect speech. This is just basically to confuse you that what is reported speech. Reported speech is also known as the indirect speech. So, if you want to answer the following sentences correctly, you have to watch the video before because if you will know the basic, I think 5 to 6 rules, you can directly change any sentence from direct to indirect speech and from indirect to direct speech. I will do another sentence for you. It will disappear in a flash, protested Saima. Saima protested that it would disappear in a flash. Now, in these sentences, we have changed them to the reported speech, to the indirect speech. But now, what we have to do, we have to change them into the direct speech, which most of you consider to be very much difficult. But if you will watch the video, so you can change them easily. Similarly, I will provide the answers. So the first sentence is the people ask what the president says about this. What does the president say about this? Asked the people. Number 2, the foreigner asked in his own language why he should join the travelers. Why should he join the travelers? The foreigners asked in his own language. So, this is a simple way of changing from direct to indirect speech and from indirect to direct speech. So you can go down in the description, you can watch links over there, you can open them and you can see what is direct speech, what is indirect speech and how to change them. So this was all from my side. In our today's video, we have discussed this beautiful fiction named as The Adventure of the Dying Detective. We have explained each and everything in detail according to the content which I have discussed before in the starting of the video. So thank you so much for watching the video. So don't forget to subscribe Laiba's English Corner, which is related to English, linguistics and literature, and I also upload other educational videos as well. If you have any question, you can comment down below, and if you want any other video on any topic, you can comment. Your comment will be my top priority. So at the end, I would like to say thank you so much for watching the video.